Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I once again welcome you all to yet another online tutorial on microwaves and antennas. Right. We are in module one now, and we have been studying about transmission line. Right. So far, we have discussed till the transmission coefficient, so reflection coefficient and transmission coefficient. Right. So in today's session, we'll be discussing about voltage standing wave and standing wave ratio. So normally standing wave ratio or voltage standing wave ratio, we'll represent it as VSW or voltage standing wave ratio. This is a very important topic, right? As far as your exam is concerned, or as far as your practical like aspects are also concerned, right? We'll just recollect. Yesterday we solved some problems on transmission lines. So today we'll start with this voltage standing wave and voltage standing wave ratio, right? To explain this, right? So actually in textbook they have given it as a derivation. So they have initially given a derivation, and from that actually what they are deriving what is voltage standing wave and all. But now that you are comfortable with the basics, you know what is forward propagating wave, what is reverse propagating wave, you know what is alpha, what is beta, what is wavelength, right? So I think it would be convenient for me to use Imanim simulation to explain this voltage standing wave, right? So we'll just see an Imanim simulation, then we'll come back and start with the derivation. So first we'll, right, so now I have a, right, suppose this is a transmission line. All of you, I think you can see my mouse pointer. This is it. Yeah, Jay, you can mute your audio. Okay, I think Jay. Even I can't mute. I think he's putting the phone in pocket and walking. That's why it's getting muted and unmuted. Right. So what to do? Shall I continue? Whether this noise would be fine? Jay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Right. Sorry for that interruption. Right. Yeah. So we'll see the voltage standing wave. So we have a transmission line, right? And you know, if say this extreme left, it's actually what load generator end or source end, and extreme right, that is load end, right? So you know there will be at any given time there will be forward propagating wave. So this green one, it is actually what forward propagating wave. So I have assumed it to be a lossless transmission line. Right, I have assumed it to be a lossless transmission line. If it was a lossy transmission line, what would have happened? As the wave propagates, right, its amplitude would have attenuated. But now I am not assuming any material, right? Or else I am assuming alpha to be equal to 0, right? So I'm assuming a lossless transmission line, and you can see a wave, a green wave traveling from left to right, right? A green wave traveling from left to right, right? So now at any given time there will be actually what incident and reflected wave. So if the load is not properly matched, right, if the transmission line is not properly matched, what will happen? There will be incident and reflected wave. So I'm assuming there is actually what a reflected wave as well, right? A part is delivered to the load and remaining part is reflected back. So that reflected wave I have shown in red color, right? So I have shown the amplitude of reflected wave to be lesser than the incident wave. Why? Because incident power is traveling from left to right, a part is delivered to the load and remaining part is reflected back, right? So that's why I intentionally have shown the amplitude of reflected wave to be lesser than that. So how to mathematically represent this? At any given point, if you see, you will have a transmitted wave, or an incident wave and reflected wave. So how to mathematically represent that? So I'll just write. So we can represent at any given distance v, right? I think I should use some other color. At any given distance v, right, we have incident wave plus reflected wave, right? That we have observed just now. So how to mathematically represent that? Can anyone tell me? V is equal to, right? That was all about what we have been learning. Right. So how to mathematically represent? I'll write V is equal to incident wave is V plus e power minus gamma z plus V minus e power gamma z. So this is incident wave and this is reflected wave. So incident wave, which is shown in green color in our simulation, right? Reflected wave is shown in red color in our simulation. So this is V at any given time, right? So that is what we are seeing here, right? That is what we are seeing here in this animation. Are you able to appreciate that? Any doubt in this about incident and reflected wave? No need to have any doubt, right? If you have been listening to class, right, so far we have been discussing about this only, right? Incident, reflected. With this point, we started everything. But I just want you to have a real feel. Why? Because this, whatever topic we are going to learn, it is very closely related to the reflex klystone experiment, which you will be doing in your lab. So you should have a clear idea, right? If you understand this, you will understand what you will be doing in lab, right? So now you can see the wavelength. I have kept wavelength, right? Wavelength of both incident and reflected wave both are same, right? So I have this representation is actually what phasor representation. This is actually what phasor representation what I've given. So it deals only about actually what magnitude. So and I can expand it like it is V plus e power minus alpha z into e power minus j beta z plus V minus e power alpha z into e power j beta z, right? So I can expand it like this, where alpha is the attenuation constant, right? Alpha is attenuation constant. So in Emmanuel, it is actually called extinction coefficient, right? In Emmanuel, it's called actually what? Extinction coefficient. So when I change the extinction coefficient in Emmanuel, right, we change. And beta is actually what? Phase constant. And it is actually equal to 2 pi by lambda. So whenever I'm changing lambda, it is actually what? In effect changing beta, right? Beta, right? So please do keep that in mind. So lambda is there in Emmanuel, and instead of alpha, it is actually what? Extinction coefficient I'll be using, right? So we can write it like this. So again, it is incident and this is reflected wave. But anytime, right, in practice, if you observe, right, anytime in practice, if you observe a transmission line or a waveguide, right, suppose you have a probe which you can insert inside the transmission line and measure the voltage. I told you won't be able to differentiate between say wave 1 and wave 2, right, or forward and reverse propagating wave. Instead of that, what you will be seeing is this, right? You'll see a single wave. That is, it looks almost like actually what? Standing still, right? And you can see these two are when these two waves are interfering, right, you will get maxima and minima. And for instance, right, if what will happen if a reflected wave is not there? If reflected wave is not there, sorry, I should, right, if reflected wave is not there, we have only one traveling wave which travels from left to right, right? But if reflected wave is there, right, we have forward propagating and reverse propagating. But in effect, what we'll see is this. So this is actually a standing wave. So what, instead of writing it as incident plus reflected wave, if I can write it as a single phasor, a single magnitude and single phase, right? So that will be what actually is this color. I'm not that good with colors, right? So this color, what is that? Wave 1 plus wave 2. Can anyone help me out? Sorry. Okay, fine, right, whichever be that color, right? I hope you, right. So this is actually what voltage standing wave. What you are seeing here, you can see the two waves, some of these two waves, right, they are interfering. So that is actually voltage standing wave. And now it actually what swings between maxima and minima. It actually goes between maxima and minima, and it looks as if it is standing still, right? And I told this entire thing, it's happening at a very high rate. Why? Because we are dealing with very high frequency, and velocity of these waves are also almost near to that of light, right? So it happens at a very high rate that we won't be able to see actually what waves building up and coming down. Instead of that, what we'll see is because of the persistence of vision of our eye, right, what we'll see is we'll see a standing wave with if you move from left to right on the line, so you can see a maxima, minima, maxima, minima. So basically I'll just try to draw that, right. 1 second, I'll just, so basically if you observe, what you will see is, right, if you observe for a lossless case, right, even though I've written the general expression, I'll draw for a lossless case, right, along the, so if this is voltage, right, if this is Z is equal to 0 and this is Z is equal to L, right, I just, right, what you will see as you move, right, this voltage will vary like this. It will cyclically change, and it will go, there will be maxima, minima, maxima, minima. So here I have shown maxima at Z equal to 0. It need not always be the case, right? So you can see, but the separation between two maxima will be lambda by 2, or separation between two minima will be lambda by 2, or separation between a minima and a maxima will be lambda by 4, right? So that this is what you will observe. It happens actually what, because of persistence of vision. So what are we going to do is, instead of writing it as incident wave plus reflected wave, if I can write it as a single phasor. So now I have written it as a sum of two phases. So instead of that, I can write it as a single phasor, right? Single phasor, that is A plus IB, or V naught e power j minus j phi, right? If I can write it as a single phasor, right? Instead of this, I am writing it as single phasor, right? Then the magnitude of this will give me actually what? Magnitude, standing wave pattern or magnitude pattern, right? The magnitude will be magnitude pattern or standing wave pattern, and phase will be phase pattern. That is what we are going to do, right? It's very simple, right? We are, for mathematical convenience, right, or as per the math, when we solved a second order differential equation, right, the solution had two terms, one forward propagating and reverse propagating. But instead of that, what if we represent it as a single term, right? By considering they are interfering, what if I represent it as a single term, right? So then we'll find something like this, right? That is what we are going to do now, right? Okay, even if you didn't get the complete idea, right, I hope that you got the idea somewhat. Now we have seen for a lossless case. Now we'll see what happens if it is a lossy dielectric, right? Now we will see what happens if it is a lossy dielectric, which is there in between. Can you see what is happening? Right. So I've given the extinction. I'll increase the extinction ratio for both. Right. Extinction ratio I've increased. So it's not a constant throughout. It's not actually what cyclically repeating, but it's varying. Right. It's slightly varying. And in fact, what I should do is the magnitude of wave 2 I should reduce further. So this is how practically it will be. Right. This is how practically it will be. Right. This is how practically it will be. Right. So we have incident wave and reflected wave. Right. So when they interfere, we will get something like this. This will be the standing wave. So that is what we are going to observe. So I hope you got an idea, but you will get better idea when you do the experiment in lab. Right. But now we'll see how, right, some of these two can be expressed as a single phasor. Right. Then we'll discuss about the remaining things. So, and then if at all we can express it as a single phasor, right, then we should see at for what value of Z we will get maxima, for what value of Z we will get minima, and what is separation between two maxima or separation between two minima. Those things we have to see. That is all about what we are going to study in this particular topic, right? So we'll start with that, right? We'll start with voltage. So I'll start with this, right? We know V is equal to V plus e power minus alpha Z e power minus j beta Z plus V minus e power alpha Z e power j beta Z, right? So now this is written in polar form. So this is in polar form, right? And even this is in polar form, right? So what I should do, if I have to add two phases or add two complex numbers, I should write it as A plus IB, right? I should write it as A plus IB. So how to convert R angle theta to A plus IB? So A will be R cos theta, right, and B will be R sin theta, or else, right, I know by Euler's identity e power j theta is cos theta plus I times, j times sin theta. So I'll be using I and j interchangeably for square root of unity, square root of -1, right? So that's what. So this e power j beta z, I'm going to write it as actually what? Cos beta z plus j. So if it is minus beta z, so okay, I'll plus or minus, I'll write e power plus or minus zeta z will be cos theta plus or minus j sin theta. So it will be cos beta z minus j sin beta z, and this will be cos beta z plus j sin beta z. So it is converted into rectangular, right? That's what I am doing now. So I'm converting it into rectangular, right? So it is V is equal to, this is magnitude R, right? This is magnitude, it will remain as such. So it is V plus e power minus alpha z, right, times this e power j beta z. If I write cos beta z minus j sin beta z, right, cos beta z minus j sin beta z, right, then plus here the next magnitude is V minus e power alpha z, right, cos beta z minus j plus j sin beta z. So I'm adding two complex numbers. So how to add two complex numbers? A plus IB plus E plus ID we have seen. Add the real parts and imaginary parts. So those will be the corresponding real parts and imaginary parts. So what I can do is I can rearrange it. So I can rearrange it as real part and imaginary part like this. So all the term containing cos beta z, the terms without j will be the real part. So that is the term containing cos beta z. So I can write it as V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z into cos beta z. Please do take it down along with me itself. Then sin beta z term, or the imaginary term will be, I am writing minus j times, right, V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z into sin beta z, right? So this is how I can write. So now I get, this entire thing is the real part, and this entire thing is my imaginary part. Is it clear? We are doing nothing, right? It's not at all complicated, right? Even though, I don't know, even then this voltage standing wave ratio is considered to be one of the critical subjects, but it's only actually what, very simple math and our actually basic knowledge of physics, right? Two waves will interfere and how you can represent a complex number, that's it. So I have this real part and imaginary part. Now what I should do is I should represent it like, I should again convert it into actually what? I should convert it into polar. I should convert it into polar. How to convert that into polar? It should be V naught e power minus j phi. It should be V naught e power minus j phi. So how to convert A plus IB into V naught e power minus j phi? So V naught will be root of A square plus B square, square root of real part square plus imaginary part square, and phi will be tan inverse of B by A. So instead of tan inverse, some textbook will use the notation arc tan, right? Both are same, tan inverse or arc tan. So if I can represent, right, this like V naught e power j phi, this V naught is actually called voltage standing wave or magnitude, voltage standing wave pattern or magnitude pattern, and this is phase pattern, right? So now, can anybody tell me what will be V naught and what will be phi, right? So from this, it follows from this straight away, right? So I can write here, V naught will be equal to root of A square plus B square. So A is nothing but what? This entire term, right? Including V plus e power minus alpha z, right? This entire term is A and this entire term is B, right? So V naught will be, instead of writing under root, what I'll do is, excuse me, right? What I'll do is I'll just write as to the power half, right? So this term square, a square, that will be actually what? V plus e power minus alpha z plus v minus e power alpha z square times cos square beta z, right? Then plus next term will be v plus e power minus alpha z minus v minus e power alpha z square sine square beta z, right? So this entire thing under root. So under root, it is actually what, to the power half, right? Are we clear with this? Right? Is it clear? Right? Any doubt? Maybe I'll pause here for the time being, and I'll ask if anyone has any doubt. Please feel free to respond. Right? So it's a very important topic, and I believe it's a very easy topic. Right? If you are finding any difficulty in this, please feel free to ask. Let us try and understand which point you didn't understand. Right? Is it clear for everyone? I'm asking everyone. Right? Each and every one of you, please do respond. Please. Yeah, do type in chat window. Right? I'm waiting for your response. Okay, instead of asking any doubt, right, let me ask, did you understand anything? I was simply what? Telling and writing something which you didn't understand, or some idea you got. Should I repeat, or should I like leave this profession and do something else? Right. What's your opinion, please? Please feel free to tell whether, okay, how many of you understood this? You can understood, right? And others, it's I believe it's very simple, but maybe if you didn't understand, it's my problem, right? Maybe I might have complicated it, right? If you didn't understand, it will be my problem, so I'll have to try and explain it in different way, right? And those who didn't understand, okay, you don't have to, if you don't feel like asking doubt now, you don't have to ask it now. Please follow my notes, right? So just write down whatever I'm writing on board, but later on you just think, if you didn't understand anything, which aspect you didn't understand, and why you didn't understand. Mostly it can be because what you might have missed some of the aspects of this complex numbers. What we did is only what, two waves are traveling in opposite direction, they are interfering. So waves we can represent as phasors, right? So phasor 1 plus phasor 2, it will give me another phasor. So if I can write it as a single magnitude times e power j, a single phase, that's what we are doing. But when adding, we had actually two polar forms. So to add that, we should add in rectangular form. So that's why we did add in rectangular form. Then again, then we convert it back to what, polar form. That's what we did, right? So we got, so this is the magnitude, and what will be phase now? What will be phase now? What will be phase? Phase phi will be tan inverse, right? Tan inverse, right? So what is B? B by A. B will be V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power. I'll write it here. V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z divided by, right? A is actually what? V plus e power alpha z plus e power minus alpha z, V minus e power alpha z, and there is actually what, one sine beta z by cos beta z. So sine beta z by cos beta z, I'll be writing tan of beta z, right? So this is phase. So you can represent this entire two waves, interference of two waves or superposition of two waves like this, V naught e power j phi, whose magnitude will be given by this V naught. Even though it's a very lengthy expression, it's very simple, right? So we know how it came, right? It's v plus e power minus alpha z square plus v minus e power alpha z square, right? Blah blah blah. And this phi is tan inverse of v plus e power minus alpha z by v minus e power. So this v naught is called actually what? Magnitude pattern or voltage standing wave pattern, right? Magnitude pattern or voltage standing wave pattern. And this phi is called phase pattern. Phi is called phase pattern, right? And this is the same thing, right? So even right, if you convert something into what frequency domain, you will have magnitude and phase, right? Because the resultant is a complex quantity. A complex quantity will have magnitude and phase. So when you plot the frequency response, it's actually what? Frequency domain. When you are plotting it, you will plot magnitude response and phase response. So similarly here, we have magnitude pattern and phase pattern. That's it, right? You don't have to bother about the phase pattern, right? We are not bothered about the phase pattern. We are bothered about the magnitude pattern, right? We are bothered about the magnitude pattern. So I'll give it as an actually what assignment or homework, right? Not assignment, like a homework, right? Please, you take this expression. You define alpha is equal to something, right? And beta is equal to something. V plus is something. V minus is something, right? Then can you try and simulate this thing in GeoGebra, or even if it is MATLAB, that won't be a problem. MATLAB or GeoGebra, right? And see what happens when Z changes from 0 to say some value, maximum value, right? So I'm not going to show you the simulation. So I'm leaving it to you, right? So basically what you should get is right, I'll tell you should get, if you can plot, so for alpha naught equal to 0, if you plot this, right, if you plot v naught versus z, right, if you plot v naught versus z, this is z equal to 0, right, you will get something like this. I'll maybe let me take some different color, right? If you can plot that, you will get, I'll take a different color to plot the graph, right? Okay. You will get some, if alpha is not 0, you will get something like this. If alpha is not 0. And if alpha is 0, you will get something like this. Right. So there will be a maximum value and there will be a minimum value. If alpha is 0, that is lossless line. Right. If alpha is not equal to 0, the maxima and minima, they'll actually what? Right. It won't be a constant. So the maxima and minima along the length will change. Right. But here, if alpha is equal to 0, the maxima and minima. So maybe we can call it V max, and the other one is actually what? V min. That Vmax and Vmin, right? So based on this Vmax and Vmin, actually what we'll decide what is the voltage standing wave. So maybe before that we should see so many things, right? Now we should see, I have some questions. So I hope all of you have noted down this expression of V naught, right? If you have not noted down, please note down, right? This expression of V naught, I hope all of you have noted down. Please note it down. Why? Because based on that, I am going to ask some questions now. So if you have not noted down, please note down. Right, we notice v plus e power minus alpha z plus v minus e power alpha z square cos square beta z plus v plus e power minus alpha z minus v minus e power alpha z the whole square plus sine square beta z to the power half. Don't miss this. Why? Because it is root of a square plus b square. Right. I hope all of you have taken it down. Right. At least one of you can confirm. Right. I'll go forward. Right. Now, anyhow, I changed it. All of you could take it down?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, fine. Thank you. So now we'll continue with this. So tell me, what is V naught? V naught is V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z the whole square cos square beta z plus v plus e power minus alpha z minus v minus e power alpha z the whole square times sine square beta z, sine square beta z, right? So this is what we have to the power half, right? To the power half, right? So now we should, and suppose it's a function of z. So suppose it's a function of z. Say it's some function of z like this, right? This is not the exact one. I'm simply drawing as it is a function of z. I'm drawing it like this. So if it is a function of z, how to find the maxima and minima of these, right? How to find maxima and minima? To find maxima, you know, right? To find maxima or minima, right? So what should happen? So this is a maxima, local maxima. This is a local maxima, right? And this is a local minima. This is a local minima, right? This is yet another local minima. This is yet another local minima. What happens at maxima and minima? Slope will be equal to 0. Why? Because it is going to maximum, then again returning back. So at that time, slope will become actually what? 0. If it is maximum or minimum, slope will become 0. So that is why d by dz of v naught will be equal to 0. Right, d by dz of v naught will be equal to 0. So if you equate d by dz of v naught to 0, that will give you the values of z for maxima and minima, right? That will give the values of z for maxima and minima, right? But without doing that itself, and if it is maxima, d square v naught by dz square will be negative, and if it is minima, d square v naught by dz square is positive. So you know that, right? But we don't have to, right, think about this. But this is how mathematically you will reach this conclusion. But you can see, right? So this now I am telling that if you accept it or not, right? Later on, actually, what we can keep a discussion on this. But I would request you to think through and later on try to justify the statement which I am going to make, right? So I am telling the maximum amplitude, right? Maximum amplitude we know will happen when cos square beta z is equal to 1 and sin square beta z is equal to 0, right? So the maximum, so first thing which I am going to write is the maximum amplitude of v naught happens when this cos square beta z equal to 1 and sin square beta z equal to 0. So that will be equal to this. This will be the maximum amplitude. The maximum amplitude will be v plus e power minus gamma z and v plus e power plus gamma z. This happens when both are in phase, right? Both are in phase. Both the waves interfere in phase, right? Or cos square beta z. So, but we are talking about magnitude. So, if it is positive or negative, whichever it is, positive maximum or negative maximum, right? As we are interested only in magnitude. And one more thing, here we have only positive magnitude, no negative. As it is cos square and sin square, whether we can have negative values. Of course, if v minus is greater than v plus, we may get negative value. Apart from that, is there any chance for us to get negative value here? No, we won't get negative values. This will always be greater than 0, right? So please do keep that in mind. This will always be greater than 0, right? So the maxima, positive maxima will happen for when, right, cos square beta z is 1 and sin square, I'll write here, right? Maximum amplitude v naught will happen when cos square beta z is equal to 1 and sin square beta z is equal to 0, and that is equal to actually what? B plus e power minus alpha z plus b minus e power alpha z. The maximum, right? So I'll call it V max, right? The maximum amplitude of V naught, that is V max, occurs when cos square beta z is equal to 1 and sin square beta z is equal to 0. So a right? So when cos square beta z can be minus 1, which implies beta z will be integer multiples of pi. Beta z will be equal to n times pi, where n can be actually what? 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Right? Which implies beta z is equal to n times pi. Right? So first point, please note it down. The maximum value of standing wave pattern occurs when beta z is equal to plus, in fact we should write plus or minus n pi, but it should be right n pi, right, where, or else you can write plus or minus n pi, right, or n is equal to plus or 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2 plus or minus 3, right, so 1, right. So beta z happens for plus or minus n pi, that is n from 0 1 2 3, right. That is one point. Please do take it down. Maybe you have to verify it when you simulate. You have to verify these things, right? Then second question is the minimum value, minimum amplitude, the minimum amplitude of V naught, that is V min. Can anyone tell me what will be that? If anyone can tell me what will be that, right? It's a chocolate question, right? Definitely I'll give a chocolate, one big chocolate, whichever, right? Dairy Milk, Silk, or whatever, whichever you like, right? What will be the minimum value? Right? You can either. I prefer. It would be better if you can unmute and tell. I told the maximum value will be V plus e power minus alpha z and V minus e power alpha z. So now what will be the minimum value?
V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z.
Okay, you gave a correct answer. Seriously, I don't think you want chocolate, right?
I want, sir.
Fine. Okay, that's correct answer. Right? I simply told I'll give chocolate online. You online I can't give. Right. So maybe later on I'll give everyone. Right. Maybe when you come back we'll celebrate. But now, right. Thanks for giving that answer. Who gave that answer?
Kavya.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So yeah. So the minimum value will be. So please do note down along with me. Right. So V min will be V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z, right? And when this will happen when cos square beta z is equal to 0 and sin square beta z is equal to 1, right? This will happen when cos square beta z equal to 0 and sin square beta z equal to 1. It will happen when beta z is odd multiples of pi by 2, right? Beta z is odd multiples of pi by 2. I'll write it here, odd multiples of pi by 2. So mathematically I can write it as 2n minus 1 times pi by 2, where n will be, right, 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2, etc. Right. So if it is 0, it will happen for actually what? Minus pi by 2. For 1, it will happen for actually what? Plus pi by 2, so on and so forth. Right. So this is a condition for minima to occur. Right. So this is a condition for minima to occur. So we found the maximum amplitude. What will be the maximum amplitude? And what will be the minimum amplitude? And when they will occur. So we found 4 things. Right. So we found maximum amplitude and z value, right? This is one thing we found. Then minimum amplitude and z value. So it is beta z is equal to 2n minus 1 pi by 2, right? Beta z is equal to 2n minus 1 pi by 2, and beta z value we found, right? And minimum amplitude and the corresponding beta z value, right? Next, what I want to do is I want you to find out what is the separation between maxima. So I'll write separation between maxima, adjacent maxima, or minima, right? Separation between maxima or between 2 minima. Separation between 2 maxima or 2 minima. Adjacent maxima or adjacent minima is what I have, right? Maybe I should write adjacent maxima or adjacent minima, right? So for that, you know, for maxima to occur, beta z should be equal to n pi, where n is equal to actually what? 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2, etc. Right. Now we'll find for which value of z it will happen, right? So which means z is equal to n pi by beta, but you know beta is equal to actually what? 2 pi by lambda, right? Beta is equal to, so if you substitute, it is n pi by 2 pi by lambda. So it n pi by 2 pi into lambda. So what happens? Right? What happens? This pi and pi get cancelled. So we'll get, so this maxima will occur for all values of z, which is equal to n lambda by 2, right? N lambda by 2. Oh, separation between, so first maxima for n equal to 0, first maxima will occur, right? That is first maxima. N equal to 0, max 1, that will happen at lambda by 2. Sorry, that will happen at 0, for instance, right? And for n equal to 1, second maxima will occur, that will happen at lambda by 2. So separation between, right? Separation between maxima or separation between minima will be, right? Both will be same. Separation between maxima and separation between minima will be actually what? Lambda by 2, right? So here I have drawn here, right? Here I have drawn. So this separation, if it is a lossless line, right? Separation between maxima, it is lambda by 2, right? And if it is a lossy line also, separation between this maxima, that will be equal to actually what? Lambda by 2. But mostly we'll deal only in terms of actually what? Lossless line or low loss line. So in a laboratory, what equipment you have actually what? Such a thing, right? But the separation between maxima or separation between minima, both are same, both will be same. Separation between maxima and separation between minima, both will be equal to lambda by 2. Please do register this. This is very, very fundamental thing. So next time, right, next class we'll study about Smith chart, right? There we'll tell the complete circumference of a Smith chart is lambda by 2, right? Why? Because, or in other words, if I start from one point and if I travel to another point which is at a distance of lambda by 2, by the time I cover that distance, it will take up all the possible voltage values, right? It will take up all the possible voltage values. So similarly, current also it will be the same. Current standing wave also will be similar. Even though I am showing only voltage standing wave, current standing wave also will be similar, right? So then what happens? So voltage will be changing like this, and I'll draw the current standing wave also, right? So suppose I am assuming because of some reason current and voltage are out of phase, right, by some amount. So the current standing wave, suppose this is the current standing wave, right? So what happens is, as you travel a distance lambda by 2, voltage standing wave and current standing wave will repeat, and the ratio voltage by current, that is impedance, also will repeat. The impedance, line impedance, right? Z line. So I'll call Z line. Line impedance also will repeat for every lambda by 2 distance, right? I know you are not able to appreciate it fully, right? But this is a very crucial point which I told, right? But at least you note down, right? So what you have to keep in mind is voltage, current, right? Line impedance, and even reflection coefficient, right? Everything will repeat at an interval of lambda by 2, right? Everything will repeat with a period equal to lambda by 2. That is the point which I want you to appreciate now, right? And yeah, so that is about separation between maxima. And similarly, if you find separation between two minima also, it will be actually what? Lambda by 2. Separation between maxima and separation between minima, both will be lambda by 2, right? Now we'll consider some special cases, right? So now that this is our, right, okay, I'll copy only this thing. So okay, right, or else you can see here, right? You can see here, I don't have to copy it and paste it somewhere, right? So what will happen to the maxima and minima when alpha is 0? What will happen to the maxima and minima when alpha is equal to 0? So maybe I'll list down whatever result we got so far, right? So I'll write, as a table we can write attribute, right? Value, or control Z, right? And position, right? Attribute, value, position, right? First right? And initially I'll write for alpha not equal to 0, right? If alpha not equal to 0, right? Maxima, what is the value of maxima? Maxima is v naught e power minus alpha z plus, right, v naught e power alpha z, right? It happens when beta z is equal to n pi, where n is equal to 0, plus or minus 1, etc. Right? And similarly, minima happens, minima is equal to v naught e power minus alpha z minus v naught e power alpha z. It happens when beta z is equal to 2n minus 1 times pi by 2. Again, n is equal to 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, etc. Right? And same case, if alpha equal to 0, what will happen? Same case, when alpha equal to 0, maxima will be, that maxima will be a constant. You can see it will be, sorry, it's v plus and v minus. I am extremely sorry. It should be v plus and v minus. I have written v naught. Right? Please excuse me. It will be v plus plus v minus, and it happens actually what? Beta z is equal to n pi. Right? And similarly, minima happens when minima, the value will be equal to v plus minus v minus, and it happens for beta z is equal to 2n minus 1 times pi by 2. So what is the difference between alpha equal to 0 and alpha not equal to 0 scenario? So here the maxima and minima will occur. The values of maxima, it is a function of z, right? Values of maxima is a function of z. Here again, value of minima is a function of z. Whereas if alpha is equal to 0, it's a lossless line, and this is a lossy line, right? Maxima and minima are constants, right? Maxima is a constant, minima is a constant. So with this idea, right, I will help you how to draw this, right? So maybe for a lossy line, so it was asked many times, voltage standing wave, define voltage standing. So how you will define what is a voltage standing wave? So when forward and reverse propagating wave superimpose, right, it will result in a voltage standing wave, and we can represent it as v naught e power minus j phi, right? V naught is the magnitude pattern, and phi is the phase pattern, right? So now for a lossless line, we'll plot it, right? So it's actually what? V naught and z. You can see for a lossless line, throughout the length, maxima and minima will be same, right? Maxima and minima will be same. Throughout the length, maxima and minima will be same. It won't change. So this is V max, and this is V min, and we know V max is equal to what? V plus plus V minus, and V min is actually what? V plus minus V minus, right? So this is for a lossless line. And similarly, if you are plotting it for a lossy line, what happens is the maxima and minima falls as e power minus alpha z, right? You can see. Are you able to see this? Or else I'll draw a dotted line with this, right? So the maxima and minima will exponentially decay with respect to z. So if you okay, again, if you're trying to plot a right graph, sorry, right, it should be right. So it will be something like this. What you will get is, right, the maxima and minima. This is how the standing wave will look like, right? So this curve denotes actually what? V max, and this curve denotes V min. So V max is always actually what? V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z, and V min is V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z, right? So and along x-axis, along independent variable, it is actually what? Z, right? Did you understand what is the difference between the voltage standing wave pattern which will be observed on a lossless line, that is alpha equal to 0 or R equal to G approximately equal to 0, right? And a lossy line alpha not equal to 0. Did you understand the difference? Are you able to appreciate it? Right, please do respond, at least type. Of course, I'll make this video available in Canvas. You can watch it once again. But now, are you getting some idea how it's only actually about interpreting math, right? We are only about trying to interpret math. That's it. We are not doing any big things, right? It's just we are sticking to the basics, right, and trying to what interpret it in a way, right? So, and here one more thing you can represent, right? The separation between maxima will be lambda by 2, separation between minima will be lambda by 2, separation between maxima and minima will be lambda by 4, right? The maximum value will be v plus v minus, v plus minus v minus, and here again, right, separation between maxima, it will be same, separation between maxima will be lambda by 2, right? Separation between minima again will be lambda by 2, separation between maxima and minima will be lambda by 4, right? So these things, right, I just want you to appreciate only this. So if we are trying to have a quick revision, what we did today is, right, instead of representing it as sum of incident and reflected waves, I represented voltage as actually what? Incident and reflected, say, voltages, right? And one more thing, right? So I just want to write it in terms of reflection coefficient as well. So Vmax, the general case, right? Vmax is V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z, right? So you know, right, reflection coefficient gamma, right? Gamma is V reflected by V incident. So here, this is actually what? Incident. This is reflected amplitude, right? So I can write straight away without loss of generality. It is equal to V plus e power minus alpha z, and V minus e power also alpha z I can write as actually what? Gamma times V incident. Gamma times V incident, right? That is gamma times V plus e power minus alpha z. So I'll write it as plus gamma times V plus times e power minus alpha z. So I can write it as, right, I can write it as, this is equal to, right, V plus e power minus alpha z into 1 plus gamma. So Vmax can also be found out like this, V plus e power minus alpha z into 1 plus gamma. And similarly, we will get V min will be equal to, V min can be written as V plus e power minus alpha z into, V min can be written as V plus e power minus alpha z into 1 minus mode of, it should be mode of gamma, okay. Mode of gamma times V plus, right. So this is magnitude, right. Maybe we'll see later why it is magnitude now, right. It is V plus e power minus alpha z into 1 minus mode of gamma, right. So this is what we have to see today, right. So tomorrow we'll see what is voltage standing wave ratio, right. And I request everyone to try the V notes expression just to try simulate and come, right. So whether we are getting what we expected for alpha equal to 0, alpha not equal to 0, right, those steps, right. Now I think we'll stop here for the time being. It's already time, 2 more minutes are left. Any doubt? If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Right, how do you find, how was this topic, this particular topic, how would you rate on a scale of 1 to 5 or on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this particular topic? Difficulty level, or is like difficulty level, please do type it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate? It's your opinion, not right. Of course, I understand 10 plus, Manish. So then it's my problem, right? If you are finding it difficult, right, it's not the problem with the topic, it's the problem with the instructor, right. Okay, Right. So okay, but it's you can just break it down into what very basics, so that right the entire thing becomes. Maybe you should take some more time. Right. Just think through. Right. Maybe I was just trying to rush through. That's why you were not able to what appreciate. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Right. Only one feedback. It's 10 plus. It's already with that scale is broken. No one can measure. Right. Hmm? Yeah. If no questions or no comments, we can wind up the session. But please do type in your USN in chat windows. I'll consider that for your attendance.